Hello and good morning. Welcome to the program Perspectives. Toyin Alabi, your regular host, isn't here, and so I'll be sitting in for him this morning. My name is Jacqueline Adibija, and I bid everybody good morning. Nigeria and matters arising. There are so many things that are playing out in the Nigerian democratic space, and a lot of Nigerians are worried that we haven't gotten it right just yet. It is one thing to get it right and have to wait for the results to come about. It's another to take missteps that are leading us away from progress. And of course, like I said, many Nigerians talking, discussions going on online and offline. Bottom line, Nigerians are worried about so many matters. And chief amongst them will be taking a look at some of these matters. But chief amongst these matters would be the news this morning, to add almost, one would say, a bad icing to an already rotten cake, where we hear that a market price of about 234 naira per litre has been fixed for fuel. Come April, we will be seeing a hike in the price of petrol, the pump price of petrol, that is. The NNPC, our big brother that oversees all affairs petroleum, has come out to say the 120 billion monthly subsidy is not sustainable. And so there are questions. Is this 120 billion naira for monthly subsidy apart from the 10 billion that we learned is usually used for the maintenance or running cost of the NNPC? Or are they one and the same? If they are one and the same, how much exactly does it cost Nigeria to pay people's salaries, people who are not working salaries? These are so many questions that are coming forth. And this coming from an administration where there were so many promises about what would be done when they came into power. There was a promise of totally removing fuel subsidy, that Nigeria would finally get rid of this monster called fuel subsidy. There was also the matter of the reduction of fuel pump price. At that time, it was 87 naira. And there was the promise that it would come down to about 45 naira per litre. Today, of course, the story is different. And so this, amongst other things, would be taking a look at with Barrister El Zubair. Barrister El Zubair is not only a legal practitioner, he is also a political and social commentator. It is with pleasure that I welcome Barrister El Zubair. You're welcome via phone. He joins us via phone. Barrister.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Barrister El Zubair, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, for giving us of your time this morning. Barrister, amongst other things, like I said, we would want to start with this matter of, our petroleum industry as a whole. Now, this morning we got news that indeed there will be a hike. If you remember, there was a time when they said there would be a hike. In fact, there was a hike and then it was pulled down. The PPRA said they didn't know anything about it. But now we're getting something clearer, that fuel pump price is going to go up to about 234 naira per litre. You and I know that this will have far-reaching consequences. The NNPC says it's tired of the 120 billion monthly subsidy that it is paying. We are not clear if this is apart from the 10 billion naira that is used monthly in the running cost of this particular industry. There's also the issue of failed promises, and then the 1.5 billion dollars that the country says there, or the government says it wants to use in refurbishing the Port Harcourt refinery. Barrister Zubair, your thoughts on all of this?
First of all, I want to say that these figures that the government or the federal government is showing out in respect of oil and gas and the refineries and whatever is the maintenance cost for the refineries and whatever the NNPC is spending monthly, yearly, and how much barrels of crude oil is being exported for refining. All these figures are insignificant and not important to Nigerians. As long as the lives of Nigerians have not improved, so long as oil and gas have only become a burden to Nigerians, so long as oil and gas is the main consequences and reasons why we are even fighting ourselves in the country. But you see, a long time ago, since the discovery of oil, the Nigerian ruling elite have turned oil and gas into a conduit pipe. The main conduit pipe is the NNPC. The NNPC is the conduit pipe through which the political elites, through the years, through various regimes, have siphoned Nigerian resources. The reason is because if oil has been a mainstay in some countries, and those countries are stabilized because of their oil economy, why will Nigeria continue to suffer? And why will Nigeria continue to face problems because it has oil? And why will Nigeria and its resources continue to remain unaccounted because the elites maintain the oil revenues? The reason is because NNPC is a conduit pipe. Unfortunately, over the years, there has been pilots of the entire fraternity in terms of economy of Nigeria. To tell you the truth,
Barrister. Hello?
When this regime came on board,
Okay, we can't hear you. Barrister, are you there?
yes.
Okay.
I hope you are listening to me now.
Yes, we can hear you now, but there was a moment of silence there.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
When this regime came on board, President Muhammadu Buhari made the promise that in each of the year of his first 4 years, he will ensure that for every year a refinery is built in Nigeria. He is now 6 years on the saddle. Has any refinery been built? Is there even a contemplation that a refinery will be built? Rather, they are saying that an institution like the refinery, which will cost like, let's say 100,000 naira to build a new one, they are now saying that we will take 1 million naira out in order to repair the damaged refinery. Does it make sense to anybody? So it is a regime that is just a continuation of the pilots of the fraternity of Nigerians in terms of economy. Economy has highly been mismanaged, and the oil economy is even worse because even though the NNPC has not increased the price, you can see that Nigerians are going through pain. One of the government officials tries to compare oil prices with oil prices in other oil producing countries, but they fail to take stock of how much salaries are being paid in those countries, how much is the minimum wage for workers in those countries, how much do workers earn monthly in terms of their take-home pay. Now, the government is saying that they will increase the pump price maybe by the month of April, that we will buy a liter to almost about 232 naira, which is very, very unfortunate. This is to tell you that Nigerians should be prepared for serious hardship, and this hardship will come with consequences. The Nigerian Labour Congress ought to take a stance. All unions affiliated to the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress ought to take a stance. The various students' unions and the academic and other institutions' union need to take a stance. The market women And others who are pained or who will be pained by this decision must take a stance, and the masses must be led on the day that this thing will happen, so that we will come out en masse and protest. Do not forget that Muhammadu Buhari also led a protest when President Goodluck Jonathan was on the saddle, claiming that the oil price at that time was too much. Remember that the oil price was only about 67 naira then per liter, but there was a protest. I think Nigeria needs the protest now more than before, and we need to come out en masse and tell the government that what the government is trying to do to us is just to change us and then leave the country in a battered shape. And that's exactly what this regime is trying to do. So my own take is that government first should not even contemplate or go ahead with this increase, because I know that it will be resisted. Secondly, government must try to account for all the monies that they have spent in the course of the so-called repairs or looking after the refineries. Unless they do that, we can never have it right. And the government can never have the moral ground to say that they either want to increase the oil pump price or they want to see that they improve the lives of Nigerians. Because I know personally that the NNPC is only a conduit pipe for siphoning the resources of Nigeria. And this regime has continued in the same tradition that past regimes have continued to do. But this regime's tactics is worse because they claim to come and cleanse the system. Rather, they are dirtying it. And they are even soiling and oiling it with their dirty hands, such that Nigerians do not even understand.
Now, Barrister Erosby, when we're talking about this whole industry, a conduit pipe, there has been one thing that has remained a very confusing topic for a lot of Nigerians, and this is that matter of subsidy. Why is the subsidy, fuel subsidy, proving to be so difficult to remove? Because if there is one thing that President Muhammadu Buhari was really passionate about doing, in fact, at some point, he said there is nothing like fuel subsidy. It is all corruption. But here we see him at the helm of affairs, unable to even remove this subsidy of a thing. Who are the powers behind this particular matter? Is it that we have a group of Nigerians who do not want to stop refining fuel for us from outside Nigeria and bringing it in? And if this is the situation, who are they?
You see, you must understand and place the present rulers of Nigeria in their present context. When they were campaigning to come into power, they did nothing more than deceit. They did nothing more than propaganda. They did nothing more than misinforming Nigerians and telling them what they knew they were not going to do. President Muhammadu Buhari, when he was canvassing to become the president of Nigeria, even told the world that as a former petroleum minister, the person who built the refineries at the time he was minister, that as former head of state, and that as former head of the Petroleum Trust Fund, he did not know the meaning of subsidy. That was why, because he didn't know the meaning, he described subsidy as a scam and the basis for corruption in the oil and gas industries. And he made the promise that anything called subsidy will be removed from our dictionary so that we will not hear of it again. But the funny thing is that exactly as in their context and exactly as those who know them predicted, they were only deceiving Nigerians with sugar-coated mouth, because what the regime is doing now only proves that what they were telling us were lies, and there was no truth in whatever they were saying. They were only interested in coming to power so that they can rule Nigerians. Now, in ruling the country, they have abandoned every promise they made, from tap water to electricity, through roads, to improve security, improve economy, unemployment, and other issues. Which of them have they tackled, except the pilots, as I told you, and except that they use government institutions as conduit pipes to siphon resources? Even their EFCC, if you look at the conduct of the EFCC today, you see that government agencies and government departments and heads of government are being taken to the EFCC on account that they steal money amounting to billions. A single government official will take out about 5 billion of our resources. They will take him to court, grant him bail, and then tomorrow he is free. Then you hear of nothing again. So this deceit, I think Nigerians need to say that enough is enough, because we have come to a point that we can no longer survive. Our survival was hinged on our security, such that we can be able to live and run our normal lives. But as you can see today, Nigerians are not secured, and we are living in fear, and we cannot even cope with our conditions, not to talk of to be able to do things that are even in tandem with our humanity as human beings. So I feel that what the president did at that time was just to deceive Nigerians and push us into thinking that this regime was going to help solve our problems. But as you can see the reality today, we have only been fooled. And there's nothing we can do about it now, because we have elected them, they are on the saddle, and there's nothing we can do except they exhaust their 2 years. Now President Muhammadu Buhari needs to own up to himself and think deeply about what he had done, about what he has said, and what the government is saying, and what the government is doing, whether it is right for the president to now continue with the subsidy, which he himself has condemned as a scam, whether the regime should increase the pump price of oil, when the president himself led a protest against such increase, when the price was even much less, in fact, much less than it is today. The president needs a rethink of whoever is controlling this price economy in the NNPC or the PPMC or even the entire regime, that they need to stop it. He must put a stop to this, unless he wants to go down in history as one of the rulers of Nigeria that did not have it so good, as one of the rulers of Nigeria that deceived their people, as one of the rulers of Nigeria that only compounded the problems of the country. Unless he wants to be remembered in that light, I think he must now take a stance. As for Nigerians, our hardship has increased. We are already in that hardship. Every promise has failed, and we are no longer sure of our direction. Nigerians must rise up to the occasion.
Okay, Barrister.
In 2003, if we are alive, we need to vote decisively against people like this who continue to deceive us.
All right, Barrister, at this point I will need to quickly ask, though, is it fair for us to drop everything at the there's a reason why we have 3 arms of government. Have they all lived up? I mean, the reason why we have 3 arms is so that when one arm is malfunctioning, the other arms will step up and try to fill that gap. We don't see any action from the legislative arm. We don't seem to be even seeing anything, because you just mentioned some of the cases that EFCC would prosecute, and then suddenly we would not hear anything about it more. What is the judicial arm doing? Why do we have silence coming from them? So is it fair to lay all of this at the table of the executive arm of government when we do have a legislative arm that could actually stand up and say, look, we're not comfortable with the way things are going, we're not comfortable with these policies, and we need to review? But there's nothing coming from those parts. Is it fair for us to lay all of this at the executive at the foot of the executive arm of government?
Okay, what happened is that, let's thank the Senate President when he was elected and he made his inaugural speech. You remember he said that the National Assembly will just be a rubber stamp. He said that they will not oppose any policy or any bill that the president will bring to their chambers. He said that they believe the president is infallible and he's always right. And therefore, anything he brings to the chambers, they will sanction it. He was not pretentious, and I think we thank him for being frank, because since they were inaugurated, they have shown their true color, that they are really overstamped for the president, and they have never, for once, taken a stance for the people of Nigeria. They have always done what they feel is right for themselves and for the president. For the president and the executive arm, they will always sanction what is brought to them as a bill, whether it is good for Nigeria or not. For themselves, they will raise bills and take them to the executive, so that the executive can be able to pay those bills for them, so that their lives will improve, so that they can continue in prosperity. That is what is happening between the legislative and the executive arm. As for the judiciary is a bit hamstrung, although I have my issues with the judiciary also. You see, the judiciary can never take a stance unless matters are brought to it either by the EFCC or the police or the ICPC. A judge sitting on his seat as a judge to decide a matter cannot bring in any issue that he knows outside what is written in the charge. The judge can only act upon what he sees in the charge, and whether he has read about corruption or stealing in any government agency in the newspaper, he cannot bring that input into the charge. He can only act according to what has been brought. Unfortunately, before EFCC or the police takes a matter to the court, what they do is to advertise and call the person they intend to charge as a thief. They call him as a common criminal, and they call cameraman to take off the picture of the person and print it in a newspaper. Then when they go to court, because they have failed to investigate their matter thoroughly, they cannot be able to prove any charge which they printed in the newspapers before the court. So essentially, it is not the fault of the judges at this stage, because a good charge must be based on a good investigation, and a good prosecution must be based on a good charge, and a good conviction must be based on the basis of a good prosecution. So if you have a bad charge or a bad investigation, you cannot have a good charge. You cannot have a good prosecution, and the person will be acquitted. So this is how the judges have been hamstrung. Although most of these cases that come to the courts, sometimes it baffles me. Although it has been said a long time ago that the law is an ass. You know, the law will discharge somebody who has stolen 1 billion naira from government coffers on bail in just 1 hour. But the court will jail somebody who took out a goat or who broke a room to steal a loaf of bread. They will jail him for 3 or 4 years. But this is somebody who has taken 1 billion naira belonging to the entire people of the country or a ministry. Then they will set him free on bail. It only confirms the truth that the law is an ass. And it shows that you need to be a bigger thief to pass through the net of the cobweb. And that is exactly what is happening in our country. So to answer your question directly, none of the arms of government, the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature, none of them is working for the interest of the Nigerian people. All of them are working only for those who are occupying those positions. They are doing it to increase their prosperity, the prosperity of their children, the prosperity of their family, and probably the prosperity of their hangers-on and surrogates. So unless the Nigerian people rise up to the occasion and do the right thing by avoiding ethnic, religious, sectional, geographic, and other primordial sentiments, there is no way that the Nigerian people can have it right. So long as we hold to those sentiments, these people that are ruling today will continue to rule. And you will be shocked if we are alive in 2023 that we will still elect more than half of those who are today occupying government positions. That is the dilemma, and that is the truth. But we have a right to redress it, and we can do it if we want, but we only need the will, the unity, and the resolve to unite.
Indeed, we'll be talking more about some of those things you just mentioned, the unity and, that force for us to come together to achieve what Nigeria needs at this time. We'll be going on a quick commercial break. Barrister El-Zubar, we'll be right back. Please do stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. We're back with Barrister El-Zubar, a political and social commentator, as well as a legal practitioner. We've been talking about matters arising in Nigeria. We took up on the fuel subsidy, in short, the petroleum industry saga. And that has, of course, morphed into other more general reasons why Nigeria seems to find itself where it is. But Barrister El-Zubar, before we went on that break, you were talking about some of the things needed for Nigeria to achieve before we are able to indeed seek for genuine change, and that was unity. Now more than ever, Nigerians are struggling with that concept of unity. There was a time when it was just one part of the country, particularly the southeast, that was looking for, you know, some form of self-determination. But as is, almost every part of the country right now has some form of agitation or the other. How can we get back to the table and leave, you know, because it seems as if Nigerians are chasing after the wind and leaving substance. How do we get back to the table and really talk about what really matters, what can actually bring about real positive change? And that is Nigerians having one voice. How can we get this unity back?
Yes. The truth is that Nigeria is a blessed country. Nigeria has been blessed right from outset. And at the struggle for independence, our forefathers did not divide themselves. And each section of the country invested so much in the struggle for independence. Over the years, since independence, every section of the country has invested so much in Nigeria. Before independence and even before colonialism, Nigerians of diverse entities have interacted with each other and intermarried. If you take, for example, the history of the Yoruba people and the people of the Hausa land, their relationship dates back to about nearly 700 to 1,000 years. They have been trading together, and over the years they have intermarried. And with respect to the other tribes, there's no doubt that even before colonialism, there has been that kind of interaction. So Nigeria has been blessed, and we have invested so much in the country, such that now we should not think, because of politics, to get divided or secede from one another because of things that are very, very, very primary and not important to us. That is why the politicians need to be resisted. It is the antic of the politicians that has divided the country so much. It is the antics of the politicians that brings about these religious, ethnic, sectional, and geographic differences. When a politician goes to campaign in Enugu from Kano, he will dress like an Igbo man. When he goes there, when he is greeting them, he will, instead of saying good afternoon everybody, he will say shalom, showing them that there's a religious correlation with what he is saying. The same person will go to Sokoto, and instead of saying shalom as he said in Enugu, he will say assalamu alaikum. Then he will abuse the people of Enugu in Sokoto and abuse the people of Sokoto in Enugu. And then he will tell them that they are different. If he is from one of them, he will tell them that one of them even hate him because of his ancestry or attachment to his tribe or religion. And that is how the masses became gullible and involved in religious differences. Today, especially our youth, cannot divorce themselves from such differences. And the level of hatred I see sometimes exhibited on the social media and in places of discussion baffle me, such that I always think that in the next 50 years, when these youths will be the leaders of Nigeria, can they be able to unite the country? Then the other issue is the issue of justice. Those who are ruling the country are not just. Right from admissions into unity schools up to the time that you will be employed, Your name will guarantee whether you will be admitted. Your name will guarantee whether you will be employed. Your name will guarantee whether you will even be let into a public office. Sometimes, if you go to an office that is manned by Ezekiel and your name is Amadou, you will find a very stiff chance of getting even into the office. The same thing, if you have a child that is just 12 years and he needs to go into a unity school, and you go to that school and the principal is an Amadou and your child is called David, I can assure you that no matter how brilliant that child is, they will resist it on account of his religion or tribe. This kind of injustice is what made the masses to think that, okay, all we need is our own to be there. If our own is there, we can get it. So long as our own is not there, then we cannot make it. Then look at the level of embezzlement. Everybody that goes there will embezzle. If he embezzles, although he doesn't embezzle for his tribe or his religion or even his town, the people feel that since it is a common patrimony, that theft is their own. So they don't see anything wrong with it. So the level of injustices exhibited by leaders at all levels is what has even exacerbated the clamor for our differences. Now, Nigerians need to realize, given our history and our common origin, because if you have read the work of Mokogo Okoye was a great Nigerian historian, indeed a great African historian, who traversed most of the world's ivory towers to give lectures about African commonality and about how Nigerians are even united in their history. In one of his books, Mokogo Okoye postulated that the entire tribes of Nigeria come from two places. They are either from Ethiopia or from Yemen. And ask anybody who is a Nigerian and ask his tribe and ask of the origin of his tribe. He must tell you that the original place where they come is either from Habasha, that is Ethiopia, or from Yemen, or they migrated from any of these places. So Mokogo postulated that we are one and the same people, and we need not divide ourselves. Those issues that divide us need to be downplayed, but we need to unite, because the common people, whether you are a Christian, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a pagan, whether you live in the north or in the south, whether you are Ishekiri, whether you are Igbo, whether you are Kataf, whether you are Fulani, all I know is that if you are poor and you cannot be able to pay your children's school fees, your tribe, your religion, and where you live cannot pay for you. If you leave Kano to travel to Lagos today, you know in the bus there are Christians, there are Muslims, there are pagans, there are Ishekiri, there are Hausas, and every tribe. If there is a pothole, which is a result of the negligence of those that are ruling us, and an accident occurs, and everybody dies, is there a distinction between tribe and religion? There is none. And these people that are ruling us, when they come to steal the common patrimony, they do not consider their tribes. When they are in the boardroom discussing how to take out this money, they don't consider their religion. So, to me, there are two tribes or religion in Nigeria. The religion of the bourgeois exploiters and oppressors of our common patrimony, and then the common people on the one hand who are suffering. Unless the common people unite in this protracted struggle to get back Nigeria to how it was, we will always fail, and these people will always have their way. And you know they have citizenship of countries. A person can be head of state in Nigeria, but he will be a citizen of the US. He will also be a citizen of the UK. He will also be a citizen of the Germany. In our country today, most of our rulers have dual citizenships. So if Nigeria fails, they only need to travel to the other country, which is also their home. Their children today live in those countries. Some of their wives live in those countries. They only come here and sit on the saddle of authority and rule us. But if Nigeria divides and breaks down today, they will go back to those countries. And that is the reason why the common people need to unite without considering their differences in ethnic, religious, tribal, geographical, and other sentiment.
Barrister, before I have the lines open, just quickly, in looking for the way forward, there are so many issues, so many challenges right now in Nigeria, and looking for the way forward, one of the things that a lot of Nigerians are talking about is, come 2023, should we even be looking at zoning? Should it be something that we should even consider? Or should it be a case of let the best man win? Because we have about 5 APC governors now who say they support the party to zone the presidential slot to southern Nigeria. But looking for a way forward in Nigeria, should we continue? It was started by the PDP. Hitherto, Nigeria had never known anything like that. It had always been, you know what, contest and let's see who can get the most votes. But now with this zoning formula that was started by the PDP, and of course now looks like the APC wants to adopt it, should it be one of the things that we should adopt, or should we completely throw out these zonings, because it never gives us, because for some people will tell you that, you know, for all the people who have ever ruled Nigeria, whether as military heads of state or as civilian presidents, there is nothing in the states or even the towns or villages of these rulers or military heads of state that has improved the life of the common man, that has changed the outlook of that place. So of what use really is this zoning? Should we adopt it? Should we throw it away? Barrister.
The Nigerian ruling elite since independence have protected and conserved the direction in which Nigeria should move. In truth, and to be fair to Muhammadu Buhari, probably he is the only one that has not campaigned on the platform of differences. One of the issues is that all those who have ruled Nigeria are people who are not Nigerians. They are either ruling us as Yoruba or as Hausa, because they have to be Hausa before they will be elected. They have to be Yoruba before they will be elected. They have to say that they are Igbo before they are elected. So nobody has ever come out to say, vote for me because I'm a Nigerian. Nobody has ever done that. Nobody will come and converse that because I am a Nigerian, not an Igbo, not a Yoruba, not a Hausa, I want you to vote for me. They all come on the platform of either tribe or religion. And that is what is playing out again. Take those who are contesting today. What are they saying? Those in the southwest are fighting and saying that we must have Oduduwa Republic unless a Yoruba man is elected as president. Is Yoruba Nigerian? No. Those in the south are saying you must give back the powers to us because we are the ones entitled. We only had one slot and we must have it. Unless you do that, we will break the oil pipes. No, none of them is saying vote for me as a Nigerian. Those of the Igbo stock are saying the same thing. And the northern people, the northerners who are already on the saddle, are saying that President Muhammadu Buhari's rule appeared to have even favored southerners. And so there should be slot again for northern Nigeria. Everybody is either talking about south, southwest, southeast, or north. Who is talking about Nigeria among them? None of them is talking about Nigeria. And so we need a leader that is just, that is human, that is all-encompassing, a leader that thinks of Nigeria first, not his tribe, not his state, not his religion, not where he comes from. A leader that will treat all people fairly, that if you come to his office or to the presidency, he treats you as a Nigerian. That if he is appointing ministers, he will not appoint people from his own area. That if he is appointing people as directors or head of parastatals, he will not appoint people, only those people that he knows. A president that will not appoint his brothers into the presidency, that is what we want. But that is not what we have today. If you take stock of the presidency today in Nigeria, because Nigerians do not even know, you will be shocked. If you are appointing judges, you appoint them on account of their tribe, you appoint them on account of their relationship with Supreme Court justices. If the Nigerian Bar Association at a point last year opposed the appointment of 70 Federal High Court judges, but the president went ahead and swore them. Those judges that were appointed that time, about 47 of them, when the Nigerian Bar Association took stock, so that they were children of either Supreme Court justices or justices of the Court of Appeal. And so, because they are justices now, they want their children to inherit them. If you come to the state judiciaries, it is the same thing. So, unless Nigerians resolve that tribe, religion, ethnicity, and where you come from does not matter, that what we need is justice and fairness, in spite of who is ruling us. Remember when Yakubu Gowon was the head of state?
Let me allow people at least one or two calls in so that people can, yes, because we're running out of time. The lines are open. Let's hear from you. 081 40,000 989 and 070 989. Once again, that's 081 40,000 989 and 070 989. Let's take your calls. Please be to the point. Hello, good morning.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
And good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Your guest has spoken very well. This is Engineer Emmanuel.
Engineer Emmanuel, quickly.
Until now, what he says, I agree with him. For me, this 1.5 billion that was given for innovation, honestly, that is the way to siphon this country's money. I just got an information that Angola gave awarded a contract to one of the US something to build a refinery for them that will cost 1.3. So why are we renovating with 1.5 billion? That is aside. For me, I know it's a scam. That is aside. Then concerning the issue of subsidy, this is an administration that says they don't believe in subsidy. This is an administration that says that subsidy was a scam. And now today, they were saying, so what happened? All this money that they have been collecting that is for subsidy and this and that. Now, all those ones have come as well.
Okay.
So please, the government should come open to the people because you can't give what you don't have. Now they are proposing to take our fuel to 230 naira. Is that what they promised us before they came into power? Where is the refinery that they promised that each year they will build? The modular refinery that they say they will support, where is it? So for me, it's like this administration, they have lost focus. And if they have lost focus, if anybody is closer to them, let them return back to track and do what they promised that they will do to the people. Do we talk about the insecurity? For God's sake, do we know the trauma those students that were kidnapped are they passing through? I was told that somebody among those women, there is a pregnant woman among them. So for God's sake, if it is the children of the elite that are in that bush for 2 weeks, did you think by now they should have done something to rescue those children?
All right. Thank you very much, Engineer Emmanuel. Let's take another call before we come back to Barrister. Hello, good morning. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, please, quickly, 30 seconds.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name, please.
My name is Levinus, please. First of all, I will appreciate the speaker, Barrister in the House. These are the type of people that we need in this country. People that tell the truth and nothing but the truth. I'm a living example of what the barrister is just saying now. During this COVID-19 of 18, for the fact that my name appeared the way my name appeared, I have a friend, a good friend of mine. Aminu is the name. The other one is Ibrahim. We went there for documentation. At the end of everything, my name was at the middle. But all those guys, they got the palliatives. But I didn't. So what this barrister said is exactly what is happening in this country. Unless if our politicians, if we do away with anything to do with religion, sentiment and tribal ethnicity, that is the only way this country will go forward.
Okay. Thank you so much, Levinus. Let me come back to the barrister. Barrister, you heard Engineer Emmanuel and Mr. Levinus. Your thoughts on this?
I know that our youth are very angry at what is happening. And sometimes our anger makes us to go back into our shell, into our cocoon. We even feel that we should exist only with our own. But I tell you that we need to strengthen our hands in order to become strong. We need unity of purpose. We need to unite. We need to agree that we have a common purpose and a common destiny. And as long as we do not unite, they will continue to oppress us and continue to make us slaves in our fatherland unless we unite. And that's what I am calling for. I believe that unity is the key and it is not late for us. As for the leaders, let them know that there's a day of reckoning. A day will come when they will be put to test. Or as long as they don't stop this operation, a day will come that even if they do not account here, they will account before God, and it will be more difficult for them. Because anybody that is taking out the common patrimony is doing nothing but digging for himself the gates of hell.
What better way than to end it that way? Barrister El-Zubairu, thank you so much for your thoughts this morning. Indeed, I myself have, followed every word, and hopefully there are listeners out there know that unity is needed at this point. We must continue to strive for that while we pray for a social engineer of a president come 2023, regardless of where that president comes from. Barrister, thank you so much.
It's a great pleasure, madam. Thank you very much.
Until Monday, when hopefully Toyin Alabi will